I'm standing down because I think this election in the end is a really clear choice between Jeremy Corbyn and Boris Johnson. And I want to encourage people to vote for Boris Johnson to ensure that Jeremy Corbyn never gets anywhere near number 10. I joined the Labour Party as a teenager. I've been a local councillor, I've worked for the party, I was an advisor to the last Labour government, I've been a Member of Parliament for 14 years, I was a government minister, so for the Labour Party has been my life. And for me to do something like this, you know, this is a massive step, it's a big question for me, but this is the choice the British people are going to have to make. And I just think that Jeremy Corbyn is unfit to lead Britain. He and the people around him always seem to back our country's enemies, whether that was supporting the IRA at the height of the Troubles, or describing Hamas and Hezbollah as his friends, or when Putin sends hitmen to murder people on the streets of Britain, Jeremy Corbyn parrots the Kremlin line. I think this is completely unacceptable. I don't think he loves our country in the end. I think their economic policies would deter investment, put businesses and jobs at risk, and I think their Brexit policy is completely ridiculous. I regard myself as decent, traditional, mainstream, patriotic Labour, and I think decent Labour voters, mainstream Labour voters, should lend the Tories their vote at this election. I mean, I joined the Labour Party as a teenager to fight racism, and I can't believe that I had to leave it to fight racism as well. And I think what's happened to the Labour Party is absolutely heartbreaking. I think it is, I don't think people could have believed. I mean, look, I think under Jeremy Corbyn's leadership, they've taken what was a mainstream political party and they've turned it into something completely different, way out on the fringes of British politics. I think Jeremy Corbyn, John McDonnell, people like this, have spent their entire time on the fringes of British politics. I think their views are completely at odds with the mainstream of the British people. And I think it makes them completely unfit to lead our country. It would have been easy, you know, to sort of ignore this question. But I think in politics you've got to face up to the difficult choices, and you've got to tell the truth, and you've got to stand up for what's right. And if you're not in politics to tell the truth and stand up for what's right on fundamental issues like racism, what are you in it for? We're in a situation here where only 6% of Jewish people in Britain would consider voting Labour. Where almost 9 out of 10 of Britain's Jews think there's a problem with anti-Semitism in the Labour Party. I mean, that is absolutely shameful. Absolutely shameful. And I think I think under his leadership, racism has poisoned a political party that had a fine and proud tradition of standing up for equality and fighting racism. I think it's a complete disgrace.